Today I'm going to be taking us through some crucial case law which proves the truth and validity of sovereignty, which is also known as state citizenship in legal terminology. This is for those of you who encounter naysayers or if you yourself are skeptical. Case law is ruling in the courts. We have here some case law that is ruled from the Supreme Court as well. To dive into the definition of case law, it's a system of jurisprudence based on judicial precedents rather than statutory laws. Judicial precedents are past court decisions that serve as authoritative examples for judges when deciding similar future cases, which means that courts should follow established rulings to ensure consistency and predictability in law. So without further ado, let's dive into the facts and to the truth. For those of you unfamiliar with this subject matter, I'm going to lay a quick foundation so that you can be up to speed with the rest of us. And that is to take you through the definition of a person per the United States Corporation definition. This is a trick word, so please everyone, learn this word and learn never to identify yourself as a person in these courts or with these legal entities if you yourself are not an actual corporation. So, person via USC 15.7 is defined as corporations and associations existing under or authorized by the laws of either the United States, the laws of any of the territories, the laws of any state, or the laws of any foreign country. To be clear, when it's talking about the United States, it's talking about the United States Corporation, not the Republic United States law of the land. There are two United States. Let's proceed to the following definition to really close out the structure, and that is the definition of the United States via 28 USC 300215A. The United States means a federal corporation. So there you have it. Argument closed. The United States is a federal corporation, which is putting it under law of the water. This is all about corporate law. Now for the fun part, let's get into some case law. Number 1, Supreme Court case law. Supreme Court is the Supreme Court of the United States. This is in Washington, D.C., and it confirms the Constitution is to be interpreted according to common law rules. If you're unfamiliar with what common law means, law stands for L, law of the land, A, law of the air, W, law of the water. Go ask any bar attorney if they can give you the definition of the word law, and I bet you none of them will be able to provide you with this answer. Now, within law of the land, air, and water, which is the elements that we live on, those three elements are three different jurisdictions. Law of the land is of common law jurisdiction. And this is the jurisdiction that sovereigns live and abide by. The Constitution is also the protection for sovereigns. And when I say Constitution, I mean the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments. Everything after that is to be consented to before it takes effect. Every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. That is so incredibly powerful. I hope you all remember this and recall it and live by this. It's so true. That's Cruden versus Neal. Another one. The rights of the individuals are restricted only to the extent that they have been voluntarily surrendered by the citizenship to the agencies of government. City of Dallas versus Mitchell. This means that any government does not have the right to rule over you without your consent. Because if not, then you would be a slave. I want to throw in a legal label that you can use to identify yourself to these legal entities. Because remember, they're not even human when they're operating from those levels. They are a corporation, right? If you have taken my course, you know that I go deep into the occult meanings of corporation and government and all of this. Corporation, if you separate that word, is corpse, oration. So it's dead speak, right? So in order to interact with you, they have to make you into a legal entity themselves. So a legal word that you can use for them to understand what you are is a non-resident alien individual. This is actually what is used when you are doing tax exemption paperwork. An individual is a non-resident alien if such individual is neither a citizen of the United States, we're talking about the federal United States, nor a resident of the United States. Resident is also a legal term having to do with that type of political status. For some of you, this might be an entirely new concept, but men and women have the right to travel. Yes, you actually don't need to ask permission to pay for licenses, registration, permits, to be able to do things that is your birthright, like traveling, going from A to B. Let's go into some case law regarding the right to travel. The right to travel is a well-established common law right that does not owe its existence to the federal government. It's recognized by the courts as a natural right, and that is exactly right. That's Schachtman versus Doles 96. Another one, the use of the highway for the purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common fundamental right of which the public and individuals cannot rightfully be deprived. Chicago Motor Coach versus Chicago 196. It is the duty of all officials, whether legislative, judicial, executive, administrative, or ministerial, to so perform every official act as to not violate constitutional provisions. Montgomery versus the State 55 FLA. How many times have you seen a state official, a police officer, a trooper violate our rights to travel when we have not committed a crime? Next one. If government officials attempt to enforce an unconstitutional law, this happens all the time. Sovereign immunity does not prevent people whom the law harms from suing those officials in their individual capacity for injunctive relief. This is because they are not acting on behalf of the state in this situation. So this basically means if your constitutional right to travel is violated by a cop who is getting aggressive and who has a power dynamic thing that he's working out, you can sue him. And you know what? I highly recommend that you sue anyone in an official capacity who is violating your God-given rights. It is our duty to uphold these God-given rights, because if not, they're going to be forgotten by the phone zombie generation that precedes us. U.S. versus Anthony 24 Fed 829 1873. The term resident, which is what I was talking about earlier, and citizen of the United States, former, is distinguished from a citizen of one of the several states, latter, in that the former is a special class of citizen created by Congress. Notice how when it says citizen, it's identifying it as citizen of one of the several states, which is the state citizenship that I have been talking about. We have in our political system a government of the United States and a government of each of the several states. Each one of these governments is distinct from the others, and each has citizens of its own. This is talking about the difference between a United States citizen and a state citizen. So here we're really starting to focus in on what is the state citizenship political status that sovereigns are using, identifying themselves and lawfully extracting themselves from the federal government. He was not a citizen of the United States. He was a citizen and voter of the state. One may be a citizen of a state and yet not citizen of the United States. This is McDonald versus the state. Here's another Supreme Court ruling. Jones versus Temer 89. The Privileges and Immunities Clause of the 14th Amendment protects very few rights because it neither incorporates the Bill of Rights nor protects all rights of individual citizens. Instead, this provision protects only those rights peculiar to being a citizen of the federal government. It does not protect those rights which relate to state citizenship. This one is absolutely huge. Save this because this will be your saving grace when you encounter law enforcement or any sort of authority wanting to have jurisdiction over you. This here proves state citizenship, and it also proves the truth of the 14th Amendment. That's why I've said in many of my previous videos, the 14th Amendment was what created federal citizenship. A citizen of the United States is a citizen of the federal government. This is Kitchens versus Steele. Taxpayers are not state citizens. Belmont versus Town of Gulfport. I took all these references from my book, Unlocking the Path to Self-Governance. I'll make sure to leave a link below if you're interested in learning more about that. And also, if you're serious about taking this to the next step, check out my website where it is a 3-step process. Step 1, learn the knowledge. You have to create the foundation. You need to learn the trick words and basically do a few steps that prepare you for step 2, which is claiming your state citizenship political status. Once this is done, you can attain lawful tax exemption. That's step 2. And once all of that is done, you're ready for step 3, which is to create your God trust. This is an irrevocable trust that will secure your assets and will long into the future. If you have case law yourself that was not mentioned in this video, I'd love for you to also put it in the comments below so that we can all read and continue to grow our awareness and knowledge relating this utmost important topic. As this is really going to be a key deciding factor of what our future world is going to look like. Is it going to be one of severe technocracy, ruled, controlled by AI and chips in our brains? Or is it going to be one ruled in God and God's law, nature, spirituality, and truth? And the choice lies within each one of us. I will see you in the next video. Mwah.